Something very important happened in the last few days and most people are completely underestimating it. Everyone is talking about inflation, interest rates, AI, markets going up or down, but very few people are paying attention to what is happening at a geopolitical level, especially in countries that are usually considered far away or irrelevant. And this is exactly how big problems start. Because history shows us that the biggest financial shocks never start where people are looking. They start on the edges. They start in places people think do not matter anymore. And what just happened in Venezuela is one of those events that you should not ignore, especially if you care about your money in the next few years. I'm Matteo Maglia, Partnership Manager at GloboBanks, the banking introduction company for international accounts. Now, let's talk calmly and clearly about what is happening, why it matters, and why events like these are not isolated episodes, but signals of something much bigger that is building up towards 2026. In the last days, Nicolás Maduro, the long-time leader of Venezuela, has effectively lost control of the country. There are arrests, internal chaos, internal pressure, and strong involvement from external powers, especially the US. Whether you like Maduro or not is completely irrelevant here. What matters is what Venezuela represents. Venezuela is not just another country in South America. It sits on one of the largest oil reserves on the planet. For decades, it has been a key geopolitical chess piece between the United States, Russia, China, and regional powers. And when a country like that collapses or changes regime or enters a prolonged phase of instability, the consequences never stay local. They never stay there. Now, let's zoom out for a second. This is not about Venezuela alone. Venezuela is just a symptom. What we are seeing is a pattern that is repeating itself more and more often across the world. Political instability, economic fragility, external interference, sanctions, frozen assets, currency pressure, capital controls. All of these things are becoming normal again. And if you think this only affects poor countries or badly managed economies, you are missing the point. Because history shows us that instability always spreads. Slowly at first, then all at once. When a regime collapses, the first reaction is always the same. Foreign assets get frozen, international banking relationships get reviewed, money movements become suspicious, compliant rules tighten overnight. And this does not only hit politicians or criminals, it hits companies, it hits entrepreneurs, it hits normal people who simply happen to be on the wrong side of a border, a passport, or a banking system. Now, let me be very clear. I am not saying that Venezuela is the next global crisis. I am saying that Venezuela is one of many pressure points in a global system that is already under stress. We are living in a world where governments are more indebted than ever. Central banks are trapped between inflation and recession. Geopolitical tensions are increasing, not decreasing. Trust between countries is collapsing. And when trust collapses, money becomes a weapon. We already saw this with Russia, for example. We saw it with sanctions, frozen reserves, blocked accounts, seized assets. For the first time in modern history, many people realized something very uncomfortable. Money is not neutral. Money is political. And access to the financial system is conditional. Now, why does this matter for 2026? Well, because financial crises do not explode randomly. They build up, they need stress, friction, and catalysts. And geopolitical instability is one of the strongest catalysts there is. Venezuela today, another country tomorrow, another one next year. Each event adds friction to the global system. Each event makes banks more conservative. Each event makes governments more aggressive in controlling capital. And this leads to a very simple consequence. It becomes harder to move money. It becomes harder to open accounts. It becomes harder to stay compliant without sacrificing flexibility. And this affects everyone, including wealthy individuals and actually, especially the wealthy individuals. Because when systems are under stress, they do not go after small amounts. They go after concentration. They go after visibility. They go after people who have something to lose. Now, another important point that very few people talk about. Countries like Venezuela are also a reminder of how fast sovereignty can disappear. One day a country is independent, managing its own system. The next day it is fully embedded in international frameworks, external control, sanctions, supervision and financial oversights. There are fewer and fewer countries today that are truly outside the global financial architecture, and this trend is accelerating, which means that relying on a single jurisdiction, a single banking system or a single country for your financial life is becoming increasingly risky. Not because tomorrow everything collapses, but because when something breaks, you have no alternatives, no redundancy, no plan B. And this is exactly what people discover too late during every crisis. They only realize the problem when accounts are frozen, transfers are blocked, or compliance requests suddenly appear out of nowhere. This is why events like Venezuela matters even if you live in Europe, the US, the Middle East or Asia, because they are not isolated, they are signals that the global system is becoming more fragile, more polarized and more controlled. Now, at this point, let me connect this to something very concrete. In times of stability, banks are friendly. In times of instability, banks become defensive. They reduce risk, they cut exposure, they close account, they ask more questions, they delay decisions. And this is not because they are evil, it is because they are under pressure themselves. Regulators push them, governments push them, international agreements push them. And the first thing banks do under pressure is to protect themselves, not you. This is why, moving towards 2026, the people who will be in the best position are not the ones chasing the highest returns. They are the ones who understand structure. They understand jurisdictional risk. They understand banking diversification. They understand access versus ownership. They do not panic. They prepare. And preparation today does not mean hiding money or doing anything illegal. It means understanding how the system really works, where money is safe, where money is liquid, where money is flexible, and where money becomes a problem instead of a solution. Venezuela is a dramatic example, but it is not an exception. It is a part of a bigger picture that is becoming clearer every month. The world is fermenting, and in fermented systems, resilience beats optimism. So, if there is one message I want you to take from this video, it is this. Do not wait for a crisis to understand your exposure. Do not wait for headlines to decide what to do with your financial structure. Because when the crisis is visible to everyone, it is already too late to act calmly. The smartest moves are always made before panic, not during it. If you want to stay informed about these macro dynamics, how they impact the banking system and how international finance is evolving toward 2026, make sure to stay updated and subscribe to the channel, because the next years will reward people who think ahead, not people who react.